I'm going to be taking you through a setup for shoulder external rotation to work PAILS, rails, and liftoffs. So we are going to attempt to build more capacity in that shoulder joint, specifically in external rotation. So for this setup, you just need something comfortable that you can lie down on your stomach, and then 1 or 2 yoga blocks or something similar to be able to prop your arm up on. So we're going to be starting on your stomach. So I'm going to take my first yoga block. I'm going to line it up if my hand or my right arm was in goalpost or muscle position. I'm going to rest that elbow on the yoga block at this height so that it's about flush with my shoulder. And then I'm going to take the second yoga block is going to be dependent on where your external rotation is. So if your hand starts on the floor, and when you start to take that arm into external rotation or rotate that shoulder back, if you can barely lift it off the floor, your setup will be here. If you've got more range, this front block, you'll set up where your range is that you currently have control over. So for me on this right side, and you'll also notice both sides can be really different, I'm about here. So for me, when I take my hand, or my shoulder rather, into external rotation, I have pretty good ownership over this range right here, so I'm gonna start here for the work. So we're gonna roll with 2 sets of PAILS and rails. First set, lighter effort. Second set, stronger, heavier effort. For the PAILS, we're trying to push into the block or take our arm into internal rotation. And for the rails, we're trying to pull away from that block or find more external rotation of that shoulder. So I'm going to start with my palm down. I want to think about trying to engage through my abs. I'm going to give myself a little tuck of my tailbone, resting my forehead either in your hand or directly on the mat, whatever feels more comfortable to you. I'm going to start by pulling my shoulder blade down my back a bit so that I'm not compensating by moving my shoulder blade around along with that tuck of my tailbone so my abs are engaged. Another thing you want to watch for as you do your PAILS, rails, and liftoffs in this position is that we don't start to compensate by moving away from that side to give ourselves a little bit more range of motion. So my chest, shoulders are going to stay square to the mat. First round of PAILS effort, I'm going to start to push my fist down into the yoga block. I'm going to imagine that I'm trying to take that arm into internal rotation, and I increase that pressure a little bit more, and a little bit more, and I hold there. I feel a little bit of bicep, I feel a little bit of pec, front of my shoulder, hold there. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm going to relax that effort. Reset my breath, reset my pelvis, so engage through my abs, shoulders down my back, and on that exhale, I'm going to try to pull my hand, my fist up off that block. First, I want it just to feel a little bit light, and then I'm going to try to get it to feel a little bit lighter. Maybe for you it leaves the block, maybe not. We hold that effort. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then relax. The other thing we want to watch for in this position is that I'm not compensating with my wrist. So I'm not faking external rotation by rotating or flexing back at my wrist. So from my knuckles across my forearm stays really, really long. Second effort, big breath in, brace through my shoulder blades, my abs, and I'm going to start to slowly push my hand down into that block. You would not be able to take the block out from underneath my hand. You would not be able to lift my hand up. I increase that pressure a little bit more. I turn the dial up on that volume, maybe 10, 20, 30, 40, 50%, 60%. I go to my highest, safest amount of pressure. Rest of the body working hard. Hold there. 5, 4, 3, 2, and relax that effort on 1. Nice big deep breath in. Rails effort, or all of my short stuff across my upper back, I'm going to squeeze more. So I externally rotate. I feel my hand light on the block. I feel my hand lighter on the block. I keep my wrist long. I'm trying to peel hand back as far as I can. Hold that squeeze.
My right elbow is pushing down into the yoga block. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax that effort. Big breath in and out.
From this position now, I'm going to take 10 liftoffs. So those rails efforts, 10 reps.
Nice big deep breath in. Pull the belly button up and into your low back. A little bit of pelvic tilt. Externally rotate the shoulder to lift off. Squeeze, hold. 1 and lower. Squeeze, hold. 2 and lower. Again, watching I'm not going with my wrist. Stays long. 3 and lower. 4 and lower. Try not to twist through my upper body. 5 and lower. 6 and 7. Chest, shoulders stay square to that mat. 8 and 9. Last rep, squeeze, lift, hold. 10 and relax.
I'm going to slide that yoga block out of the way. I'm going to spin around and take the other side. So again, setup would be left elbow on the block, flush with my hand. And I know for me, my left shoulder has less external rotation. So if I'm being really honest in this position, much harder for me to get it off this block. Still have pretty good ownership of maybe just this range of motion, so I'm going to keep it at this height. And once you adjust, again, maybe your hand is here. The other thing too, if you have much more external rotation than this here, then you can slide this block out of the way and take that elbow all the way to the floor and then prop up from there. It will give you much more work. I like the sensation of my elbow being flush with my shoulder and my chest, so I like my supporting elbow, my working elbow propped up on the block. So you find your setup. We're going to get into this setup and take a couple of breaths. Again, I tuck my tailbone underneath to engage through my low abs so I don't start to dump into my spine. I'm going to pull both shoulders down my back so I don't start to rise up through my shoulder blades to cheat that movement. I'm going to take a couple of breaths and get comfortable in this space. And then I'll start that first rails or PAILS effort. So I'm going to take a nice big deep breath in. And then exhale, I trap that air into my low abs and I start to push down into the block with my left hand. And I feel what feels like it's squeezing for me. I feel bicep, I feel front of that shoulder, a little chest. And then I try to increase the squeeze of those muscles, increase pressure down into that block a little bit more. Holding that pressure down for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax that effort. I take a big deep breath in, I pull shoulders down the back for that rails effort. I'm trying to go more external rotation. So I start by letting this left hand just feel a little light on the block so I can feel what's stuck squeezing back of my shoulder for sure. And then maybe I can get so light on the block that I'm just hovering off it for me barely on this side. And I keep that effort squeezing. 5, 4, 3, 2, relax all that effort on 1. Second round of PAILS and rails. Maybe that first effort felt fine. Do that one again, or increase your workload just a little bit. So I'm taking that breath in. I tuck that tailbone, engage abs. Pull shoulders down the back. Start to push down into that yoga block a little bit. And then I slowly ramp that effort up. Ramp up a little bit more. Maybe a little bit more pressure. If this yoga block was a scale, I'm putting down 10, 20, 30 pounds, 40 pounds. I find how much weight I can push into that yoga block, and then I sustain that for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax that effort. Take a breath. On the exhale, pack the shoulders down your back, engage your abs, squeeze and fist that hand, and start to feel light on the block. Left elbow pushes down. I try to feel a little lighter. As you can see, I have much less on this side. I can barely get my hand off that block. So I'm just feeling that lightness, and I squeeze there and I hold that activity for 5,
4, try not to lose that effort. 3, 2, 1, and then I relax here.
So for me, for my liftoffs on this side, I'm going to go ahead and take my block a little bit lower so that I can feel a little bit more range of motion in that liftoff. So I'm going to take a big deep breath in, pack shoulders down the back, externally rotate, squeeze, lift. 1, and lower. 2, and lower. 3, and lower. Abs engage, lift. 4, and lower. Trying to feel like my bicep rotates back toward the ceiling, and lower. 6, and lower. 4 more here. 7, and 8, and 9, 1 more, 10, and lower. Take a breath or two in this position. Pull back. So that's PAILS, rails, and liftoffs in a setup for shoulder external rotation.